All right, folks, welcome to another episode of Powerful Perspectives, where we have world changers, entrepreneurs, athletes, and people just making an enormous difference in the world. And today, as always, I got a real treat for you. And I say this every week, but man, today I have a guy that is not like any other I've ever met in my entire life. This guy is full of energy that is more unique than any person I've ever been around, I've ever had the pleasure of interacting with. Many of you guys probably know him, but I'm hoping that there's a lot of people that don't, that follow me, because I can't wait to introduce you to my buddy, Mr. Charlie Rocket. Let's get started. It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life. And then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.
What's up, bro?
What's happening, my man? How you doing, brother?
Hey, what's my favorite thing to say? I'm on a winning streak, man.
I'm on a winning streak, baby.
Mm-hmm.
So, for those of you who know, for those of you who don't know, this is my buddy, Charlie. And Charlie was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. He was born April 1988. Mm-hmm. Just a young boy still, just a young man. But Charlie has done so much in his life, man. And I want to start at the beginning, because there's so much that Charlie's doing now. Many of you probably see Charlie driving around, making dreams come true all over the country. He's driving around in this incredible motorhome that we got the pleasure of being in. But I want to talk about little Charlie. When you were growing up, man, like from as early as you could remember, maybe up through high school, what does it look like being little Charlie?
Man, a dreamer. I always wanted to be an athlete, man. It was my dream that was just inside of me. I didn't choose it. It's what God wanted me to be. But I always had issues with that dream. I was always overweight. I loved basketball, but when you're growing up and they have that shirts versus skins, and if I ever got picked for skins, I would sit out. Like, I never took my shirt off until I was a grown man. And like, I would never take my shirt off at the pool. I just couldn't figure out how to be like everybody else. So I was always in conflict with my dream, because I couldn't help that I loved the idea of being an athlete. I couldn't help that was my dream, but I could never figure it out. And through that process of growing up and trying to figure out what I'm going to be good at, I decided to bury that dream and do something that was realistic. And yeah, as a young man, I gave myself a name of CEO Charlie. And I said, you know what? I don't need to be fit to be a businessman. And I thought being a businessman was pretty cool. So I put on the suit to go to school. I took a briefcase instead of a backpack, and I became CEO Charlie. And I just always had businesses. I was always selling something, from shoes to jerseys to hats to, creating websites or picking up a video camera, but always like seeing, what's around the corner culturally. Like, what do I like? And I really liked hip hop. I really liked music. Growing up in Atlanta, it's where, hip hop is king. And at the time, hip hop was a very small genre. Today, hip hop is the number one genre in the world, and the biggest genre that's ever existed in the world. No genre has ever had as many top 100 records at one time as hip hop has. But as a young man, I was fortunate enough to know that was what was next. And I asked my mother, I was like, Ma, like I want to get into the music industry. Can I put a studio in my bedroom? And, I'm like, this hip hop thing is going to be big. And my mom, she was just like, I really don't understand this. Like, I don't want you around violence, or I don't want you around these things that I hear. I said, no, Mom, this is entrepreneurship. This isn't violence. I'm like, hip hop is just music. And next thing you know, I've got 50 kids from the school at the house recording music every day. And I had this idea. I was like, look, like, Mom, I need a camera. I need a digital camcorder. And so I asked for it for Christmas. And I wanted to like feature all these artists and make music videos for them. And I wanted to create a media outlet. I felt like when I would like look up, you know, who like the billionaires are in the world, like a lot of them own media outlets. And I'm like, I want to own a media outlet. So I made a hip hop website, and next thing you know, it started taking off. And my mom is like, oh, this is interesting, you know? And I'm like, Mom, like we're getting hundreds of thousands and millions of hits a day, but I didn't know how to make any money doing it. The servers cost so much, and I didn't know how to like raise capital. I mean, it's just like a little hip hop website the kids like for all the dance music in Atlanta. And my mom said to me, she said, look, you know, if you don't go to college, you got to pay rent. And I'm like, but Mom, like, I don't want to go to college. Like my business is booming. But she said, you're not making any money. I said, but it's working. It's big. And I don't want to go to college. And so I ended up going to college because I didn't want to pay for rent. I would rather pay for servers for my business. And there was a day when I was in community college and my phone rang, and it was from a 310 number. And when you're a little kid from Atlanta and you see that Beverly Hills caller ID, I mean, it's a big moment because I had never gotten a 310 call before. And I answered the phone, and it was a guy by the name of Brian Washington from Interscope Records. And he said, we want you to go on tour with one of our artists that we just signed. And the artist was named Soulja Boy. And Soulja Boy was a really big fan of my movement. And I told Mr. Washington, I said, absolutely, I would love to go on tour, but I got to ask my mother if I could drop out of school. So I went home and I asked my mom, I said, Ma, like this CEO Charlie thing, this hip hop thing is actually working. Like Interscope Records wants to hire me. And she said, look, if you drop out of school, you got to pay rent. And I'm like, but I'm going to be on tour. She said, if your stuff is here and you're not in school, you're paying rent for your stuff to be here. But she gave me her blessings, and I ended up on tour. And that's when I really became CEO Charlie. You know, I thought I had made it. And I was big at the time. You know, I was probably about 270 pounds, 280. And, you know, like my health was slipping away from me just every single day. The more business I did, the more my health slipped away. And I ended up getting fired from that job. And I had to go back to my mom's basement. And I said, this is when I realized that perspective was everything, and that I had a gift on perspective, because it was a really difficult life moment because everything that I was becoming was ripped away from me. And my mom asked me like if I'm sad, and I said, no, Ma, this is a winning streak. She's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, the cameraman's not getting rich. The manager is. I'm going to be a manager. I'm going to manage hip hop artists. And I'm 18 years old at the time. And she said, what do you know about managing artists? I was like, well, since I was a cameraman, I got to be in every room. I got to see how it worked. So I turned a bad situation into a good. And I found this girl group, and they wanted to sign to me. And they did. And I got them a record deal with Interscope. And next thing you know, they fired me for Sierra's manager. The music industry is like that sometimes. And I'm right back in my mom's basement. I'm like, you know what, this is a winning streak because I'm supposed to have a better group. And I found another group. And, you know, CEO Charlie was getting his reps in. I was getting really good through all my downfalls. It was making me practice. It was making me, you know, understand so many things. But I just looked at everything as a winning streak. And I ended up becoming really successful in the music industry, having one of the biggest management companies in all of music, and won Grammys, lots of Grammy nominations, world tours. But like I said earlier, the bigger my business got, the bigger I got. And at the height of my career, I was 305 pounds, and I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And in that moment, I was trying to find the winning streak in this, and I just couldn't find it. I mean, I was facing death, and the thing that kept replaying in my mind was, I'm going to die before I get to experience what my true dream is. Because here I am, successful, but all I could think about was my dream, and I always wanted to be an athlete. So I said, am I going to let my dream die while I die, or am I going to leave everything and chase my dream? Because I know in my heart I'm a dreamer, and I know in my heart that there was something here that was meant for me. And so I went to my artists, I went to my business partners, and I said, I'm retiring. And they're like, why? They knew I had a brain tumor, but they were like, but you don't have to like leave. Like, you can just, do what you got to do. I'm like, no, I'm leaving. I'm going to be an athlete. And like, that didn't make too much sense because I'm 300 pounds and 29 years old. And there's not like really a career. Like, yeah, you can go run a marathon, but how are you going to make a living? And within a year and a half, I reversed my brain tumor. I did 5 marathons. I did an Ironman in New Zealand. I became a Nike athlete. Nike signed me. I was in the biggest Nike commercial of all time. And when I was watching the Super Bowl and my commercial came on, and I was in a commercial with LeBron James and Serena Williams and Colin Kaepernick. And when I watched that and I realized like that feeling that I was experiencing in my heart of my dream coming true, like that dream come true feeling, in that moment, I realized that I want to spend the rest of my life giving other people that same dream come true feeling. When I was in the darkest place in my life, I said, Charlie, make a promise to yourself that when you get out of this, you're going to reach your hand back and get other people out of a dark place. And I'm keeping that promise to myself. And it's been the most amazing journey. We started a foundation and it's gone global. We get about 400 million views a month. The foundation is growing every day. We tour across America, and it's been absolutely incredible, except for one thing. The bigger my foundation has gotten, the bigger I've gotten, and I've been letting my dreams slip away. There's nothing that could possibly stop me from ending right back up at 300 pounds if I keep going the way I'm going. And I'm at a point right now where I have to make a decision. Am I going to stop what I'm doing to go chase my dream again? No, because I have to help people the rest of my life. So for the first time in my life, I have to figure out how to not put obligations, business, and my success before my dream. And I'm on a journey right now, chasing my dream all over again.
Brother, let me tell you something, because I was sitting there listening to you pour your heart out, and I could see like literally your physiology change when you talked about those moments, right? And so the whole point of this podcast, we just cut it off right here if we wanted to, because the whole point of this podcast is to uncover those times in people's lives where perspective shifted and it really defined them as a person, right? It helped you shift the way that you look at things. And I always say that, when you shift the way that you look at things, the way that you look at things shift. And, for you, when I tie everything that you just said together and you said, I have to figure out how to try to do this, brother, from me to you, first of all, I love you, man. Like everything you just poured out is just unbelievable. I don't know anybody that's done things that you have done in juggling all of this stuff that helps shape you. You've already figured it out, brother. Like the analogy that I use for people is, when you try to become a juggler, man, you don't start with 9 balls. You start with 2. and you add a third and you add a fourth. Well, brother, you've already become an incredible world-class juggler.
Mm-hmm.
Now you just have to add one more ball.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not this, seemingly insurmountable task that you have in front of you. You've done the most incredible things, and you're still on a winning streak, baby. You just got to add one more ball in there. And it is truly a gift. And here's what I will tell you. I will predict the perspective shift for people watching you do what you're about to do, is that many people think they can't do it all. Many people think that you have to sacrifice this for that. You have been an example of that in some cases, right? The bigger your business got, the bigger you got. The bigger your foundation got, the bigger you got. It is a matter, man, of learning how to juggle.
Absolutely.
And the difference between this time and last time is that look how fast you recognized it. There's a massive difference in how your recognition of this will shift everything. And you will not just become a person that makes dreams come true, but a person that is an example to so many people, again, of how much you can do. So all of that you just described, man, happened in by the time you were probably in your mid-20s, right? Like, up until, the music industry you left, you were still a young guy then. You're still a young guy now, but that was that was a while ago, right? So walk me through that period from the time that you said, I'm going to go make people's dreams come true. What does that look like, man, when you start getting this idea of what is now a foundation that millions of people around the world know? What does it look like from inception, this dream in your head of what you're going to do, to now what everybody sees in front of them?
Absolutely. So when I was in a really dark place, I wished that there was somebody I could look up to, because everybody I wanted to look up to was trying to sell something to me. Here's a protein shake. Here's a course. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I was just like, come on, I just wish there was somebody who I could follow on a journey. I wish there was somebody who existed that didn't want anything and just truly just wanted to reach their hand back. And I said, you know what, when I get out of this place, I'm going to be that person. And I mean, it started when I biked across America. This is where it all started. I was going to bike from LA to New York, and I set out and I said, I want to help people everywhere I go, because I've always had a big passion for helping people. Even in the music industry, we would do really big campaigns and we'd give away houses and cars. And that was something I was just passionate about. And so when I started biking across America, and that's when I started the Dream Machine Tour. And, it was so fun, so fulfilling. And then when COVID hit, I was in my house. I was actually not in my house. I was in a house in Sedona. And it was the first month, and they told us to stay in our home. And of course, I followed the directions until I'm sitting there and I'm like, people need help now more than ever. So in that moment, I decided to sell my house, and I sold it. And I got into my dream machine, and I started driving across the country by myself. And along the way, I picked up these dream hitchhikers. And now we have a team of 11 people, all dream hitchhikers. And we're the dream team. And we go across America. And there have been times where, the foundation almost ran out of money. And I sold another house. And I've put about $600,000 into helping people, because I had a vision for what the world needs from a foundation. And we're trying to make philanthropy cool for the kids, where we're not handing people money. We're using our time, we're using our resources, we're making phone calls, we're making websites. Because if you want to show the younger generation how to give, you need to show it in a way that is in their wheelhouse. If we're going to change the world, we have to change the world with young people. We're not going to change the world by inspiring older rich people. Young people are the ones who can go make a website for somebody, can change somebody's life through platforming a homeless person on their Instagram, or taking a sick little girl and making some phone calls and finding a cookie company and throwing her a pop-up event and raising money. Like, this is something that all young people can do, using our platforms, using our influence for impact. And I said, you know what, there needs to be a foundation that exists for young people. And it's blown up, and we're inspiring, you know, the next generation to say, you know what, I want to be a philanthropist. I want to wake up and I want to help people, because I see these other young people having the time of their lives, using impact to like fill their life up. And I think it's in all of our souls to want to help people. I believe that's our purpose. If you're a human, it's in your DNA to want to serve humanity. That's just what we were put here for. But there aren't examples. There are examples of really rich people doing good things for the world. But it's time to show young people that it's fun, it's cool, and it's hip. So we've been having a blast. We're going to build out chapters all over the United States. We're throwing a series called Chase the Dream. It's going to be 5K, 10K, half marathons with a music festival. All of this is for a nonprofit. We're creating clothing lines called the Dream Team, where everybody who's wearing it, they're a part of the Dream Team. Because when we do these activations and we help people, sometimes it's 10, 20, 30,000 people stepping up to help us because we are using our platform. So we're building out an entire dream ecosystem of apps, tours, events, festivals, you know, chapters all across the United States. And, you know, what I did in the music industry was great. But this right here, this is forever. This is going to be the biggest thing I could leave this earth with. And I want it to go on for thousands of years after I'm gone.
Talk about shifting people's perspective, man, all over the world, about what it means to give and what our real duty is on this earth. You know, when you were talking about COVID and just how crazy things got, and then, you know, you making the decision to, you know, go and impact people. It reminded me, I'm a Pittsburgh guy. So Mr. Rogers is from Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. You know, Mr. Rogers, everybody knows Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers said this. Here's what the quote reads. I just looked it up while you were talking. He said, when I was a boy and I would see scary things in the news, my mother would say to me, look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping. Mm-hmm. And you're the helper, brother.
And I'm just trying to make a million more of us.
Well, you're doing a good job, brother. I can tell you this, man. Being in the presence of your whole entire team in St. Louis a few weeks ago was impactful on everyone. You know, to be able to see people who are dedicating their entire lives, and it, you know, you can give back, you can donate to things, you can be part of things, you can be part of that mission. But there is no inspiration and no shift in perspective like being around people who have dedicated their entire existence to it. And so the amount of respect that I have for you and your team and the amount of love that I have for you guys is incredible. And, you know, for everybody that's listening, we'll give you lots of information at the end of this interview here on how you can support, and it'll be in the show notes. But please, you know, what Charlie just said without saying it is what they're trying to do is make sure that every person, whether you have 10 cents, $1, $5, or $50,000 or $500,000 that you can donate, is to feel part of making a difference. And that is, I find that most people stop from being able to give or being part of that impact because they think that their contribution isn't enough, or they don't know how to give, or they don't know where to give it to. And I have made a mission, man, over the last couple of years of trying to find those places that I really believed in that I could give to, right? Not somewhere that I send a check to that I don't know where it goes, but to people that I feel part of their mission, you know, people that I truly connect with. And hopefully everybody that's listening by the time we're done here, will feel the same, and they will feel connected to this mission and be able to support in some way, shape, or form. And I always say, you can give your time, you can give your money, you can give your prayers, you can give anything. You can give your energy. You could be a part of this mission. You know, at the Pavement Group, we have a tagline that says, follow our journey, join our mission. And I always say, man, whether you like a post, share a post, tell somebody about us, you are part of the mission. And so the same is true for the Dream Foundation and everything that you guys are doing. So, so I want to talk about, you know, you got some pretty impressive sponsors, man. When it comes down to, you know, names like Hasbro, landing names like that, and some of the people who have supported the individual dreams that you guys have done. How did you end up connecting with these companies? Like, did you just cold call them like old school CEO Charlie, just making connections, or did they come to you? Let's talk about that.
Hasbro called us last year, right? It's kind of crazy because the tour was about to come to an end because we ran out of foundation money. And Hasbro called me out of the blue and was like, look, let's do a $450,000 campaign for 30 days. Let's go help a bunch of families. We got 30 days. Let's go help. And we've had some amazing, massive donors like Andy Frisella, you know, 100,000, Chia Rondo, 200,000, Ben Newman, 100,000. And, you know, like we've been so blessed to have big people step up. And it's, you know, my CFO, Langford, he gets mad at me because I go give all the money away. But, you know, he's like, man, you just like, we're always on the E. But I'm like, man, if I got somebody in front of me that needs help, we're going to help them right now. But it's been such a blessing to have the support and the backbone. And even you, man, like your donation, man, thank you so much. It's just like so lucky, like that there are people, because there's so many foundations out there that just don't get those blessings that we've been able to get. And I hope that each and every one of them gets to have a breakthrough moment, because building a foundation is no different than building a business. But, you know, it's kind of difficult sometimes when you got to stop what you're doing with helping people to go ask people for money. It's like our mission should be out, you know, in the trenches with the people who need help. But, you know, the reality is when you run a foundation, you gotta create a source of income. You know, it's either create a sustainable source of income, you know, where you're throwing events or you're, you know, creating products that fuel the foundation, or you got to ask people. But there's been some massive donors for us, and we're so lucky. But, you know, we've even had to get to the point now where we're turning down like corporate sponsors because they want to control who we help. Like there was a massive company that offered us, you know, 750,000, but at the level we're at now, like they want to control because our videos get hundreds of millions of views. And I'm like, no, you're not going to dictate who we help. We're going to give a chance to somebody who society has turned their back on. We're going to help somebody who, you know, other people would say, yeah, like this is high risk. Well, who's going to help them? If, you know, the big foundations have all their big attorneys, you know, they say, don't help this person. It's too risky. I'm like, you know what? We do our background checks. We do our research. We really get to know people. Sometimes we'll get to know people for 2 months before we actually like dive in. But we do our research, and like we take a lot of pride in supporting those who are voiceless, who are invisible. You know, we give them a platform, we give them a voice. Like a lot of these people become world famous after we get done with them, and their lives change forever. And we're really passionate about not just giving a man a fish, but like teaching them how to fish. Because if you look into our dreams, we build businesses for people that they're left with, and they're left with a massive fan base and customer base when we're long gone.
Yeah, brother, I think that's probably, I got so many questions for you, but that is one of the things that I want to make sure that people understand, for those people who aren't following close or may not know of you guys yet. The idea of building someone's dream, it is sustainable for these people. And, you know, so let's use Lila as an example, right? So you guys went to St. Louis, you know, found this amazing family. You know, I was able to interact with Lila's father. and just got to see the energy that whole entire family puts out. And the overall mission of that is even beyond Lila, right? It's she wants to be able to impact other people with the same condition that she has. And you guys are building a sustainable business for her. It's an online bakery to sell cookies, and who knows what else it will evolve into. But can you just use that one as an example of kind of what that looks like and how it will become sustainable and continue to impact for years to come?
Yeah. So Lila has a very rare disease that is not curable. It's treatable and it can be improved, but she's a 10-year-old girl. So is she going to have treatment the rest of her life? Well, round one of treatment costs about $100,000, and that's at age 10. So when I'm looking at this situation of the insurance company not covering these costs, I'm like, okay, this little girl is going to need a lot of money for a very long period of time. What is her dream? Her dream is to be a baker. I said, okay, let's build her a bakery. Like, let's build her a store. Let's get a cookie manufacturer to help her. And let's mobilize our entire audience. And let's get the world supporting this little girl. And in 1 week, we have sold $450,000 worth of cookies. She has raised $200,000 on her GoFundMe.
Can you say that one more time, dude? I need some more excitement out of you when you say $450,000 and $200,000. Come on, man.
Yeah, she's at $650,000 in a week. So we want her to be able to have that customer base for the rest of her life. So we set her up the emails, we set her up the ad accounts, we set her up with a mentor, we set her up with all these things, a manufacturing facility, so it's completely automated, social media experts, photographers, to where when she's ready to roll out another cookie, boom, plug and play. And her fans are excited. So that's what we're passionate about building. And that's what, when I circle it back to what I said earlier, young people are very resourceful. Can a young person who does not have money go build a website? Yes. Can a young person go find a cookie manufacturer? Absolutely. People have big hearts. Can a young person edit a TikTok video that goes and gets possibly 1 million views or 200 million views? Absolutely. This is what's next in the world of philanthropy. This is what the next generation is going to want to do. And we're leading the way. It's never been done. There's no blueprint for it. We're creating it. And we've got story after story just like this. And we're just getting started, Brian.
I love it, man. I love it. And I know you're just getting started, bro. I know that for sure. So just like normal, man, I feel like, this whole conversation kind of shifts away from Charlie and talking about other people and talking about what you can do for other people. But I want to dig into, some of the biggest things for you, when you, and I'm fortunate enough to have followed you for years before I met you. And so I see all the things that are inside of your heart that you pour out to people and you put out into the world so that they can start to take shape and become reality. And I've seen you literally manifest things from, notes in your iPhone to an Instagram post and a TikTok post or wherever you put it into becoming reality. How has watching your own dreams, your own ideas becoming reality, how has that impacted you?
Man, sometimes I forget how magical this world is, because a lot of times we get into our day-to-day and it's very mathematical. It's very 1 + 1 = 2. If I clean my room, it will be clean, or if I work more hours today, I'll make more money. Or if I study more, I'll be smarter. It's very just 1 + 1 = 2. And mathematics is totally correct. But 1 + 1 equals 1,000 is also correct. And we forget that. And sometimes I got to step back and look at the miracles that have happened in my life. For example, writing down in my notebook at 300 pounds that one day I'm going to be in a commercial with LeBron James and Serena Williams. It was just a manifestation. I saw it. It's like God gave me a gift to know what to ask for. Like, I believe we all have that gift. If there's something we're called to, it's for an actual reason. And for me to write down that exact sentence in my notebook, and for me to then be able to walk through the physical manifestation of looking at a Super Bowl commercial and seeing myself in a commercial with LeBron James and Serena Williams that we won an Emmy for. Like, these things are 1 + 1 = 1,000. So mathematics is correct and magic is correct. Both are right. And it's so fascinating to get into a magical state where, like, I call it futuring. And I try to do it a little bit every day. I'll go on a walk into the future, and I'll feel the feelings and the sensations of what it's like to have this vision that's in my mind. And if I could feel it, and then the universe starts conspiring for me. And it's unbelievable the things that happen. And I keep a notebook almost every day called my Quantum Possibilities notebook. And I mean, everything I've asked for has come to life. And I've got countless examples. And it's just the bigger we believe, the faster it comes. Because I've lived multiple lifetimes by 33. And I just believed everything was easy. Like, that was my frequency. Like life is very similar to like a restaurant. Like, you're going to eat what you order. Like, if I order easy, I'm going to get easy. If I order hard, oh, this is going to be a grind. Oh, this is going to be hard. Then it's going to be hard. Like, you speak it and you create it. That's what abracadabra means. As I speak, I create. And the world is magical, and we're the only species that knows how to speak, and we're the only species that knows how to create. Our word is our wand. As I speak, I create. It's literally magic. And there's a reason why they say speak it into existence, because yes, we have to do work, but you got to have both, because you can go to work every single day and not get results. But the people who go to work every day and expect magic, ooh, the possibilities open up. And you wonder why some people in the same 24 hours get different results. Was because their imagination was activated on what's possible. It opens up the portal to all the manifestations and that random phone call. The one thing you did not do, but you sowed all these seeds. But then there's always that thing that you did not do that changes everything. It's that one relationship that you did not do the cold call on. So that comes from the mind, that comes from the word, that comes from the feeling of the possibilities, or the expectation that I'm supposed to receive that life-changing phone call. And if I expect to not receive, if I expect the universe to, punish me, oh, good things never happen to me, oh, like, why is everybody else winning? Well, you're right. Everybody's right. The people that believe they're supposed to get the phone call, they're right. The people that don't believe they're supposed to get the phone call, they're right. Everybody's right. Mathematics is right. Magic is right. Everybody's right. So just order what you want and expect it to come out, just like you expect the taco to come out when you order it at the restaurant.
Dude, I wish I was there in person with you. I could feel the energy, man. It's crazy. So if you were to give the feelings that you have when these things that you dream in your mind become reality, what is 2 or 3 descriptive words that you would use?
Okay, so to activate like my heart, the very first thing, because like most of this really is like heart driven. So our mind is powerful. but the heart knows truth, and the heart is where the real manifestation is. The feeling is here. This is where you truly feel things, like even in your gut, like this area is where you feel. So when you want to feel the future, you got to get down into the sensations. So let's say I want to manifest something. I'm thinking about the phone call to my mother, when it comes true, when it's like that emotional moment. I could picture her crying. I could picture, me being able to write the check for her new screen porch on the back of her house with the wood ceiling and the fan. Like I could literally see it, and seeing her sit out there, and she's so happy and she's so grateful and she's crying, like all these sensations of like when this happens and this happens. Another thing I'll do, and this is it's kind of toxic, but it works. So I'll think about like my biggest hater, and I'll think about the look on their face when this thing comes true, because it was like, it's like when you get really emotional when you start thinking about the person that doubts you all the time, but it activates a sensation, and you want a sensation when trying to experience the feeling of the future. So I picture their face, I picture what they're saying, and just like, they're so mad, and they're like, make it stop. But that gets me activated. And I'll always pray to God as if it's done. Like I'll say thank you a lot. Gratitude is a word we're so used to, but I feel like God gave us this secret magical key and put it in plain daylight that most people just walk past it, because you would expect like this magical key in this like secret box hidden in a, like a holy grail type of thing, but it's in broad daylight. And most of us just take gratitude, that word is just like this normal thing. But when you activate within that frequency, every bit of magic of this universe unlocks. And I don't know why, I don't know how, but oh my God, you want to experience magic? Go deep dive into gratitude. Like I'm talking about deep, to where like the other day I was struggling with something, and I was laying in bed, and I said, thank you, God, 108 times in a row, which actually takes a long time to do. And I'll like go through like my winning streak, like all the things that I'm winning. And I just try to get really grateful. And then, oh my God, magic opens up like nothing else. I mean, it's crazy. I can't explain why. Somebody out there can probably explain it scientifically, but oh my God, that word gratitude, guys, I know it sounds basic. You just gotta like not be normal when you deal with gratitude. You're like, I'm grateful. No, that's not going to cut it. You go deep. You go real deep. I'm talking about for hours. Like, something happens.
Bro, you want to hear crazy? Like, there's just something, crazy about when you meet people who are on the same frequency. Mm-hmm. So I came back from this speaking engagement exhausted, man. Like I was like worn out, right? Just out of energy. Same kind of thing. Just, your mental space goes different a little bit. And I was driving into work and I was like, man, I'm tired, man. What am I going to do? I'm going to go get an energy drink. And I went, dude, I'm going to send people messages of gratitude. So I literally, dude, the whole way to work, bro, I was recording videos, sending them to people.
Yep.
By the time I pulled into my office, dude, I was a different person. Like I literally didn't feel tired anymore. Mm-hmm. I felt like, and I had the best day. And I did a podcast episode, I'll send it to you, about that morning, about the power of gratitude. I had something completely different planned. And I was like, man, people need to know this, dude. That like when you lean into that, it's a game changer, man. Like it changes everything. It like you said, I don't know what it is either. I used to think that all this stuff that people talked about, like, oh man, that sounds cool, but there's no way that can possibly work. And then I started writing stuff down every day. I put all my goals on the lock screen of my phone, right? One right after the other. I look at it hundreds of times a day, and boom, every 6 months I got to change them, man, because it all changes. It all starts to happen.
Yeah.
My next question, man, is what do you believe is the most powerful lesson you've learned in your life?
This is going to sound really basic.
Most of the time it is.
But you see what you're looking at. Okay. Fact is, in all of our lives, we're losing. All of us have things going wrong. All of us have things going right, too. When you look at the things that are going wrong, you feel like a loser because it is a fact. You're losing. When you look at the things that are going right in that gratitude, you start feeling like a winner and you attract what you are. Both are happening simultaneously. For example, I might be having the worst day ever. Things going wrong, fires I got to put out. But I can call my mom because she's alive. I'm winning because that day that I can't call her, that's actually losing. But I can call my mom, so I'm winning. Gratitude. Wow, my car doesn't have a flat tire. I'm winning. Wow, I caught the green light. I'm winning. And then I start feeling like a winner. So picture you and your boys are in Vegas. One of your friends is losing on the slots. One of your friends is winning. Who has the gravitational pull? The winner. Everybody wants to be around the winner. So you become very attractive. So look at the wins, feel like a winner. That's it.
Love it, man. I love it. I want to touch on those people out there, and I shared this with you before we got on, but I had, a whole talk planned in front of a bunch of people last week, and I started working this room and talking to people, and I kept thinking of two words, man: unrealized dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see it, right? Every question, without asking me, they were asking me, like, how do you step into your dream? How do you make it happen? How do I just get my hands on these unrealized dreams that I have? What message do you have for those people out there that haven't realized their dream yet? You were that person at one point and you thought it might never happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
In that moment, when you found out you had a brain tumor and you thought there was a chance you would never be able to realize those dreams, what do you have to say to those people?
Have you ever watched the movie Moana?
Yes. I got 4 kids, man, more times than I care to count.
I hope whoever's watching has watched Moana. So remember, the little girl had a dream. That was her truth. It was her truth that she wasn't supposed to be on an island. She was supposed to go. She was supposed to go out on the sea on that little raft. Now, when she got in alignment with this thing that seems like it could be deadly, it seems like it could be the most difficult thing ever. But when she chased that dream and she fell off that raft, what happened? The water put her back. Every time she fell off, the water just put her back. She was like, what? To where when you actually take that big, bold leap, this is that 1 + 1 = 1,000. You're not going to fail because that dream was given to you for a reason. And it might be the scariest thing you've ever done, but it might also be the easiest thing you've ever done. It's the decision to go is the hardest. But every time that little girl fell off, it put her right back on the boat. And for me, chasing this dream of being an athlete, I experienced 1 + 1 = 1,000. God had bigger plans for me. I didn't know how it was going to work. But I was able to make a living out of my dream. And it led me to everything I ever wanted. So, yeah, that little movie, Moana, changed my life. I watched that movie in my darkest time. And I said, you know what? That little girl got on that boat. And she saved the world. And then she came back to the village. and brought everybody with her. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to go chase my dream. Maybe I'll save the world. And then I come back and bring everybody with me.
Dude, so crazy, man. It's so crazy. It's so amazing. So what is the future for Charlie Rocket, man?
Well, I'm on a mission right now to reactivate my dream. Got to figure it out. I'm up 50 pounds. And I want to get back to being an athlete, even though I'm on a mission of helping others. So for the first time in my life, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to build this foundation. I'm going to try to shift all of culture, create the biggest movement of love that's ever been created, using social media and the power it has to influence the next generation the same way we influenced the next generation with hip hop, and it became the biggest genre in the world. I believe that what we're creating is going to be the most powerful movement in the world. And I'm going to lead by example. I'm going to give. I'm going to help people with their dreams. I want to inspire other people to help other people with their dreams. And I'm going to lead by example with chasing my dream and try to teach all the lessons, the ups, the downs, the goods, the bads of what it's like to try to chase that dream. So we're on a mission. We're not stopping. We're young, and I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. So the future holds a lot of magic, a lot of possibilities. And I'm going to teach through example, not through talking.
Amen, brother. How can people support you?
I would love your support with just your energy. Energy could be, a follow. Energy can be money. Money is just energy anyways. Hard work turns into money, and money is energy. And if you want to support our foundation, dreammachineusa.org, or just message me. But energy, that's all I'm looking for. Join the dream movement.
Well, you got everything from me, brother, and far more to come, far more things we're going to do together. It's crazy. I told you this when we met, but I wanted to get this guy on the podcast. I wanted to be able to share his story because I've been so invested into it for so long, just following along. And so I text my buddy, Ben Newman, and I said, hey, I'm not sure if Charlie still does this or he'd be willing to do it on this podcast, but man, could you help me make that connection? And Ben said, if you guys don't believe in manifestation, Ben said, man, crazy. He coming to my house tomorrow. I said, get out of here, man. And then less than a week later, I was in St. Louis and we were having dinner. So for you guys out there that aren't believers, or you've put your dreams, in a trunk somewhere thinking they were never going to come true, man, just step into it. Just put it out into the universe and watch it happen. To all of you who listen to this show, I know you guys are also dreamers. I know you're also supporters of everything that we put on here. Please do what you can to support these guys. Pray for them, give them energy, give them money, whatever your way of sending energy their way is, please do it. These guys, trust me, follow at Charlie, at Dream Machine Foundation, follow all of them. You'll find them when you connect with Charlie, man. He's got it all in his profile, and you'll start to figure out who all the people are. It is the most incredible group of people that you could ever imagine, and they will 100% change the world. They're already doing it, and they will continue to build and do incredible things. Brother, thank you, man. Thank you for being on here. I know you guys have long days, and there's a million other things that you could be doing. So thank you for doing this. You have my support, brother, my love, my support, anything that I can do for you. I am here for you.
Thank you, Brian. And thank you to everybody listening. Thank you for supporting.
Thank you, brother, for being here. Until next time, guys, this is another episode of Powerful Perspectives. Thank you guys for all your support. As usual, if you could share this, leave us a review over on iTunes, Spotify, anywhere. It helps us be able to find more people, and stay tuned for Charlie's journey, man. Make sure you go follow him on Instagram if you're not already, and watch this guy's journey. You're going to be incredibly impressed by what this guy does. So thank you guys for tuning in. And until next time, I love you guys. Thank you for being here.
It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.